Hey guys, welcome to Java Tutorials. In this video tutorial, we are going to talk and learn about user-defined exception in PL SQL in Oracle. Yeah. So here we will learn how to define user-defined. When we said user-defined means the developer or DBA defined, basically custom. How we can define custom exception handling in PL SQL. Yeah. So let's start. So guys, as you know, a user defined exception is an error or a warning that is defined by the programmer, developer or DBA, right? User defined exceptions can be defined in the declaration section of the PL SQL block. The error that it signifies is not necessarily an Oracle error. It could be an error as a result of violation of some business rules defined by the application. Yeah. So as far as general syntax concern, right, about user defined exception, here you can say user defined exceptions are declared in the declarative section in PL SQL block, and this is the general syntax. So you have to write the exception name and then followed by basically exception keyword. Yeah. Now handling exception, when we talk about the handling exception, exceptional handling for all the exceptions are written in exceptional handling section of the PL SQL block, and exception handler contains the code that is executed when an error associated with the exception occurs and exception is raised. Yeah. So this is the basically one of the code snippet here I am showing here. You have to, when you write a SQL PL SQL block, then first of all you have to write the declare, and this is basically optional, but if you want to handle some custom exception or user defined exception, then you have to declare, you have to put this section declare, then exception name you have to give, and then exception, and that should end with the semicolon. Then your executable section starts from begin and end with end, right? So here if here you have to check basically in actual business logic, you have to check if condition is nothing but that this is an expression which can be either true or false, right? If this condition becomes true, then based on a certain condition, right, if your business like logic executes based on a certain condition, if this becomes true, then you can raise this exception, defined exception, in the declaration section. You have to use the keyword is called raise, and after that exception name, whatever name you specify over here, and then your if gets end over here. Then your exception section starts, right? So this exceptions section I have defined within the executable block itself. In exception section, you have to check if when exception name, if this exception matches with this raise exception, in that block will be executed, right? So here some of the things you have to keep in mind when raising the exception. When error associated with an exception occurs, the exception is raised, right? So any of the matching exception occurs, then exception will be raised. User defined exceptions are raised explicitly using raise statement. So here you can see using raise statement, user defined exception I have raised. Now predefined exceptions are raised implicitly when their associated error occurs. Predefined exception you don't need to explicitly raise. If you want, you can, but our Oracle will take care about those things, right? Now this is the user defined exception, what you can see over here. Better let's go to the SQL developer, let's try to understand there itself. So here this is the basically SQL block I have created, right? So in declare section you can see I have one constant declare whose size is currently 14, right? And this is the one of the second variable whose name is v underscore current number, that is type, data type is number, size is 2. Now here I have defined one user defined exception. So here you can give the any name. Here I have given too many, e underscore too many employees, right? And name, and here you have to specify the exception. This is fixed, always you have to write. Now begin block starts over here and ending over here. Between this, what I am doing, I am just trying to get the employee count from employee table, right? And that count I am putting into this variable which I have declared over here, right? And that's what I have written, select count employee number into v underscore current number from employee, right? So if you look into the employee table, currently we have a 14 records, right? Now what I'm doing, I have written some business logic over here. What I'm checking, if v underscore current number means in currently number of records is greater than v max record, what I have assigned 14, then I would like to raise an exception. Too many employees exception which we have declared over here, right. If this will happen, then you have exception section, right there you are checking. In exception section you can have a lot of when block when, then I have written only one when, checking if this kind of exception arises from business logic, then what I would like to do, I would like to raise application error, right. So you might be thinking what is application error, right. So here application raise application error is actually procedure defined by the Oracle that allows the developer to raise an exception and associate an error number and match it with the procedure. This allows the application to raise application error rather than just Oracle errors. Error numbers are defined between minus 20,000 to minus 20,999. You have to give the number between this range, else Oracle will throw an error, right. So if I run this application, so here what I have assigned 14, right. So number of record is 14, right. So 14 greater than 14, this will be false, right. If condition will be false, so control will be in the will go in the else block, and that will print number of records in employee table within limit, right. So in this case, first case, what I'm going to run, exception will not be arises, right. And this is saying that PL SQL block successfully completed and number of records in EMP table within limit, right. So this message is coming from here, right, TBMS output. So exception is not arises. Now I'm going to make this one 15, right. So now let's say I'm not 15, I'm going to make it 13, right. So now max, now total number of record is currently 14, so 14 greater than 13, that becomes true, then exception is going to arise, right. And now when exception will be arises, then basically this exception arises, then exception sections going to this condition is going to becomes true, then Oracle will throw this error. Let me show you. Now here you can see when I ran this PL SQL block, right. So entire PL SQL block gets printed on the console, and finally what it is saying, error report Ora 200111, right. Whatever message, whatever code we have given, right. So that's basically gets appended to the Ora. So this is the actual code. So this code is getting appended to the prefixes to the Ora. So this is the error number or error code you can see, and this is the message what we have given in the number of records in the employee table exceeds limits, that's get printed. So guys, this is the way is basically you can define any kind of custom exception within the SQL developer, right. So that's all I wanted to discuss in this video tutorial, guys. Big thank you for watching this video, and see you there in the next video tutorial.